Hello and welcome to the Study Travel TV studios in wet and windy London. I'm Matthew Knott.
And I'm Nicola Hancock, bringing you the latest study travel news stories.
The headlines this week: test data shows possible growth for UK secondary schools.
Spanish Agency Association highlights market trends.
And US Supreme Court to rule again on the Trump travel ban.
So we start with promising signs in the UK secondary school sector.
Yes, indeed. According to the UK ISET exam for UK boarding schools, there was double-digit growth in the number of test takers in key Asian markets such as China, Hong Kong, Malaysia and Thailand last year, indicating potential future growth in school enrolments from those markets.
Launched in 2014, UK ISET is typically used as a standalone entry test or filtering tool by institutions. UK ISET profiles have been received by 272 UK secondary schools, and there are 398 test centres worldwide.
In contrast, there were declines from Russia, Korea and Nigeria. The number of test takers in the EU was relatively stable, but UK ISET added the caveat that its data is less representative in European markets, as schools are more experienced in accepting European school records.
UK ISET said it now works with 355 agents worldwide, and said that 59% of all applicants last year utilised the services of an agent.
And secondary enrolments were one of the growth areas in the Spanish outbound market, outlined by agency association ASAPROCE recently, along with mini-stays, exam programs for adults and general business to Canada.
Speaking in a special presentation at the Study Travel Alfie Spain conference recently, President of ASAPROCE, Oscar Porras, added that agents were increasingly looking for innovative programs in the summer sector, such as those including technology, sports, exams and immersion.
Oscar said that among the challenges facing the association were the number of unaccredited agencies that are not paying VAT and therefore undercutting prices, and the fact that Spanish secondary schools are directly approaching language providers for mini-stay bookings.
Over in the USA, the Supreme Court has announced that it will rule on the legality of the third version of President Trump's travel ban, which affects 8 countries.
The Supreme Court agreed to hear the case last week after a challenge by the state of Hawaii, which has asserted damage to the ability of its state universities to recruit international students and scholars. Pending resolution of the case, expected in June, the policy is allowed to go into effect.
The more detailed third version of the travel ban was announced in September and mostly allows F1 academic visas from the affected countries, but in many cases stipulates enhanced vetting and does not permit B1 travel visas.
And now for a roundup of some of the other news stories this week. Staying in the USA, ELS Education Services has announced an agreement with the University of St Thomas in Minnesota to create an undergraduate pathway program, with students taking English and core requirement courses simultaneously in the first year.
Over in New Zealand, the Campbell Institute has moved its Wellington campus to a new location inside the city's historic railway building.
A fabulous location there. And the Mexican Agency Association AMTE has unveiled a new website and brand image targeting services towards its member agencies.
A little sadder is the news that Academy SJW in London has announced its closure, citing declining adult student numbers over recent years for the decision.
MLI International Schools has announced a new English Plus immersion summer camp at Rosamont School in Ireland and an English Plus football course at Loughborough College in the UK.
And also in Ireland, the Centre of English Studies has partnered with Howth Yacht Club to offer an English Plus sailing course in July for both adult and junior students.
Oscar and the Spanish agents will be happy with those new course offerings then. Find more details on all of these stories at www.studytravel.network.
Where you will also find a very busy Grapevine photo gallery this week, including fam trips from Nobel International School Algarve, IH Click and awards for Groupe Montfleur. That's all for this week, sponsored by Rutgers Preparatory School. Goodbye.
Goodbye, thank you.